from a high school division up to a college division. It takes an awful lot of willpower and a lot of training to move up to that level, and he did it. Referee Division I AA National Championship game against Mackenzie State in Kentucky. What an honor. The referee Division I AA Sweet 16 playoff, member of the Colonial Ivy Patriot League's officiating organization, member of the New Jersey High School Officials Association, member of the Brooks Irvine Memorial High School Football Association, and mentor for the Eastern Association of Intercollegiate Football Officials. Following graduation of Defford, he attended Villanova University, where he did play football. They discontinued their program, and he moved on to the University of Georgia, where he received a full football scholarship. He was a member of the SEC championship team in 1981. If anybody knows what SEC means, Southern Conference. But it's a tremendous University of Tennessee, Vanderbilt, University of Georgia, Kentucky, and that those particular teams. They beat Notre Dame. He also participated in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans in 1982, which is an honor in itself. Upon graduation from the University of Georgia, Dan did return to the Defford area. He was a CPA and later became school business administrator for Gloucester County Institute of Technology and the Paulsboro School District. He was a member of the New Jersey Association of School Business Officials, a member of the New Jersey Society for Certified Public Accountants, and a founding member and treasurer of the Gloucester Cumberland Salem School District's Joint Insurance Fund. Dan would like to credit his success as a football player to Coach Joe Corby and to the never-ending support of his parents. And his parents, at this particular time, I'd like to introduce would be Violet and Stephen. And if you are present, where are you? Could you stand just to be recognized, please? Dan was married to his wife Nancy for 26 years. He was the father of two daughters, Morgan and Courtney. I am sorry for, Dan and I were good friends many years ago, and we continued on. He enjoyed spending time with his parents and his brothers and sisters and their family. Dan was an avid golfer, biking enthusiast, played basketball, and in several men's leagues, and loved landscaping. Dan passed away July 16, 2008. Real quick story about Dan. Dan was a very good person. I met Dan quite a few years ago, and ever since I met him, he always had a smile on his face. Always. He always had a hello, and he always had his hand out to shake. He asked me a couple years ago, this many years ago, how do I get involved with the ShopRite Classic? At that particular time, I was the committee person of the ShopRite Classic. Everybody knows about the ShopRite Classic. It's an LPGA event that was held down in the Atlantic City area, Seaview. And he asked me one day, how do I get involved? And I gave him an application. He filled it out. And not only was he a standard bearer, if anybody knows about professional golf, standard bearer, you stand behind with the names of people and that. And he moved up to committee person. And that's one of my fond memories of Dan, of him going down to the ShopRite Classic and wearing our uniform and our khaki pants each and every day, and going down there and waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make sure we're there at 6, and doing things for the ladies, the lady golfers. At this time, in Dan's honor, I would like to introduce his wife, Nancy.
So keep them on as opposed to thank. We're getting Dan involved with that. Good evening. I have my cell phone up here with my youngest daughter, Courtney, on the phone, so she could hear the speech as well. It was March 13th, 1981, when I met Daniel T. Green. We locked eyes across a crowded room, and I knew just right then and there that I was going to marry him. And although we had had a lot of press about his accomplishments, I had never heard about him, didn't know he was a starting quarterback, that he led Deptford to a winning season of 11-0. He was quick to tell me all of his Spartan stories, recanting football statistics about friends with names such as Nippy, Merks, and Skeeter. And I found out that Oreos were not just cookies. I learned that there was so much more to Dan Green than just being a jock. He was fun, serious, and intelligent. He valued education and was salutatorian of his class. Dan successfully achieved a balance of academic endeavors and athletic accomplishment. Growing up in Oak Valley, he was number 5 of 7 children born to Skip and Snooky Green. And Dan began playing football, like many of you in this room, with the Oak Valley Hawks, the Westville Eagles, and the Oak Valley Vikings. Dan also played baseball in the minor leagues for Oak Valley AA under the guidance of his father, Skip, and went into the traveling team with Mr. John Margie as his coach. Mr. Margie was tough, but taught discipline and respect. For those of you that had the opportunity to play with Dan, you know that he had a very competitive nature. His closest friends and competitors had a love-hate relationship with him. Everything turned into a competition, whether it was skiing, street hockey, backyard basketball, or softball. He expected perfection, even while playing in the 1978 championship game. I was told that Dan threw a touchdown pass right down the middle of the field in the first half to Joe Wilson. Joe caught the pass and put the Spartans on the scoreboard 7-0. In the second half, Dan threw the ball to Joe Wilson again, but this time it was aimed down the sidelines. Joe was nearly knocked out by the other players on the opposing team while trying to catch the ball. Joe states that he came back to the huddle feeling a little bit woozy, only to have Dan greet him with an anger, "Catch the damn ball, will ya?" It was Dan's nature to expect that no matter where you were, he would throw you the ball and you should catch it. Playing golf with Dan Green was not like playing your average round of golf, according to our best man, Joe McKenna. Playing with Dan was a unique experience. Dan was a golfer and a sports commentator, all wrapped up into one person, giving a play-by-play narration in each hole. It was common practice for Dan to yell, "Crenshaw!" on the golf course. Crenshaw being a reference to PGA player Ben Crenshaw. No matter where the rest of the team was golfing, players would stop and listen to hear Dan's "Crenshaw." I really don't know what that means, but he did it. The golf team had many spirited players, and they were a loud bunch of guys that were supposed to be playing a quiet sport in a particular setting. The golf team usually began matches on the 7th tee at the Eagle's Nest. One day, while Coach George Jeff was talking to an opposing coach, Dan and Julie Rostelli became bored, so they began a hockey game using their golf clubs and a golf ball. One of the two swung and created a huge divot, and the divot became airborne. Unfortunately for Dan and Julie, the divot landed directly on Coach Jeff's head. During his freshman year, the team was 0-17, but over the next few years, the golf team improved dramatically, enough to win the Olympic Conference title in 1978. During his time at DTHS, Dan was awarded several awards that are listed in your program, so I'm not going to read them again. He graduated with academic and athletic scholarships to Villanova University and brought along 5 other members of the Deptford football team with him, thus breaking an NCAA record for the most number of players attending a college at one time from one high school. One day while at Villanova, Dan was playing in a scrimmage and a fight broke out. He was quick to jump into the middle of the heap of bodies, but was pulled out by an upperclassman, NHL Pro Bowl player, and Hall of Famer Howie Long. Howie's comment to Dan was, "You don't belong in there." During the spring of Dan's sophomore year, Villanova dropped the football program, and an option was given for Dan to remain at Villanova to finish out getting his degree. But fate provided a little twist. Dan secured a football scholarship to the University of Georgia, and it was at this time that I came into the picture and that we were married. While playing for the Georgia Bulldogs, Dan was on the team with people such as Herschel Walker, Terry Hogue, and Kevin Butler. Dan was part of the UGA team that went on to play against Penn State in the Sugar Bowl in 1983. Dan told many people that his plan for scoring was easy. Just throw the ball to Herschel Walker. In the June of '83, Dan graduated from UGA with a bachelor's degree in accounting, got a terrific job working for an accounting firm in Philadelphia, so we moved back up to New Jersey from Georgia. Even though he loved being a CPA, Dan was itchy not playing football. He assisted Coach Corby for 2 years as a quarterback coach at Deptford High School, but felt that he wasn't able to give enough time to the players that needed the work done. So he decided that he would go a different route. One afternoon he came home from work and asked me my opinion about whether or not he should become a football referee. I gave him my blessing and off he went. At that point, Dan changed jobs, became a school business administrator, and took days off on Friday so that he could referee games. The stat that I gave you originally in the program wasn't correct. I was looking through a football binder this week and found out that Dan had ref 585 games. And he actually broke his officiating down into how many college games, 135 college games, 134 varsity games, 153 sub-varsity games, 127 sandlot games, 36 times that he worked the clocks and chains, giving Dan a total of 585 games altogether, which was very typical of Dan to keep these meticulous records of things that he did. I was told by one official that Dan actually kept stats on how many flags that he threw during his game. For those of you who officiated with him, I'm sure you're not surprised. We actually have the table of football referees. I'll show you two back, right behind Dan's family, are some of the friends we referee football with. Dan was so excited to begin the 2008 football season when he saw his crew assignment. You see, football crews rotate, and Dan was going to have the opportunity to work in a crew and reunite with some fellow officials and friends like Herb Staten, Nick Pergine, Jim Casey, and Jerry Evans. I'm so sad that Dan didn't have the opportunity to officiate with these men one last time. Dan loved to volunteer, and again, inside the program, you saw some of the organizations that he was involved with. He also served as a school board member on the Dufferin Township Board of Education. And the one thing that I will leave you with Dan Green, he helped anyone in need, never turning his back on anyone, never taking the easy way out, and never ignoring someone that needed help. He helped anyone that needed help without being asked. Although Dan had many influences in his life, one of the most profound was given to him by Coach Joe Cordy. I can't even begin to express the love and admiration that Dan had for Coach. While we can only begin to guess the words that Dan would say about Coach, I'm sure that at this very moment, Dan is once again hanging out with his beloved Corby and thanking Coach for all that he did for Dan. In the audience this evening is a person that Dan called the son he never had, our oldest daughter Morgan. Our youngest daughter Courtney is on the phone listening to this speech. Dan was a devoted father to both of his girls and so proud of them. His parents, brothers, sisters, sister-in-laws, and several of our nieces and nephews are located right there this evening and have come to join me. In the evening of July 16, 2008, Danny passed away at the age of 47, suddenly. There were no goodbyes for us, but how grateful we are for the memories that continue to be shared with us. We thank you for this opportunity, and we are honored to be able to be here this evening to have our Daniel inducted into the Dufferin Township High School Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you all so very much.